Thank you. Appreciate that. I think they said 16 inches. So each like little pony, I donated it. So each little ponytail they cut off was 16 inches. It was I have a picture of me holding all the hair that I sent to all my family members, so that was pretty good. No, it all went to Wigs for Kids, which is a good cause. Helps kids going through chemo. Yeah.
And we beat them double digits. Okay. So that got me thinking at that time, all right, what happens if we lose the Marquette game? We have no shot at winning the Big East. We're not going to be in the 2, 3, 4 rung, and we're really going to have to battle to get the 2, 3, which I think is a huge advantage in this tournament. And then I looked ahead and said, wow, and then our next toughest game we have left is that following game. How are they going to react? Are they going to understand this? Is this going to be talked about? I know coaches all the time go, we got a lot to play for, got a lot to play for. I don't even know if it's sunk in their head. I think I was worried the disappointment would be too great. Now we lose today. And this was the scenario I kept thinking. What if we lose the Villanova game? Now we're 4-5. We can't drop to 6. So that's good. We're by locked in. But we're 4-5. Now, let me bring Jerry in here. Now, we're locked in that 4-5 game, which we've talked about being really, really tough. And I'll get back to this scenario in a minute. We're welcome Jerry in. Hi, Jerry. How you doing?
Hey,
How you doing?
hey guys.
Hey, we're gonna go right to Coach's Corner because we got Coach Murfeld on the line here. So we'll go right to him and get him on the line. Wow, what a shootout! 198 with 10 seconds left. Who would have thought that? Hi, Coach. He's still getting connected here. Hi, Coach. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
You hear me?
I hear you fine, Coach. Thanks.
Great.
Yeah, just need to back that camera up a little bit. I like the top of your head a lot, but not quite that much.
Well, I'm on my phone, so it'll be probably all over the place.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll deal with it. I know a lot of times, we kind of pick our poison, and we got a 34% 3-point shooter, and he shot like 80% today, and I mean that's one of the things. But there was a lot of things today that contributed to this game.
Yeah, I mean they played really well. Obviously, they've had a tough year with injuries, and now they're full strength and playing extremely well at the right time. And as you said, Dixon made 6 or 7 threes, 6 for 8.
I think
what was it? I don't even know.
Yeah, I think it was 6 for 8.
6 for 8. Yeah, which that's next game he'll probably go 2 for 10. I mean, it is what it is, and it's a tough matchup, obviously. But we should have been a little better defensively. We weren't. But we got to put it behind us and move on to Georgetown. We got 2 tough games left in the regular season.
Was the plan? Was that kind of the plan? Though, I mean, if we're going to give up something, we got to give up that 3 to him because he is 34%. Was that kind of like game
Well,
plan in that situation, in that ISO situation?
yes, and also, correct me if I'm wrong, and you may not have it, but I believe he was only 3 for 7 in his last 5 games, so he had not been shooting it well, and obviously Wells Fargo arena gives him a different look, and he shot it well. But yes, that was the plan. To not necessarily give him wide open ones, but they did a nice job creating them and isolating him and putting him in that situation.
I'm sorry, Coach. Just got to say this. We were down 12 at about 2.5 minutes ago. Just to people say, "Oh, you can never win." Iowa was down 12 with 2.5 minutes ago. They've tied it up 101 to 101 going to overtime. Who would have thought Michigan State and Iowa would score 200 plus points? But anyway, crazy.
Yeah,
That's college basketball. Hey, so yeah, I also thought about, wow, maybe there's a way we could maybe shift somebody off to him so he can get out a little further. But then, I know there's a couple times during the game, Arthur, like you said, the whole team didn't particularly play well on defense. And there's a couple times Arthur let his guy get by him too easy and so forth. So there was really no other matchup. Did you think maybe about going like a double on him or something?
well, it's always a collective effort defensively for us because we're not blessed with individual defensive guys like maybe we had Kyrie and certainly Tyshawn Alexander got into that role, but we don't have those kind of guys. So anytime that we have breakdowns defensively, it's not necessarily going to be on one individual. It's going to be based on more than one. And we had some breakdowns tonight, and obviously it's been a tough stretch. I think emotionally, the Marquette game probably wore on us a little bit, and not a lot of opportunity to prepare for maybe one of the top 3 teams in the conference the way they're playing right now.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how much. We always say don't let one loss get two. How much was that loss? It looked like it was. The guys looked like steps slow today. It looked like they weren't as connected as they have been.
I would agree. I certainly would agree, and that's hard to overcome in a great environment and certainly a team that has a lot to prove. But yeah, I think that certainly factors into it. Now, the key is don't let 2 losses become 3, and don't let 3 losses become 4. I mean, we got a Georgetown team coming in on Wednesday night that's talented, and on a given night, if they're making shots, probably could beat anybody in the conference. So we need to gather ourselves, pull together, and get that momentum back headed into the Big East tournament. Yeah,
that's the problem now. We put ourselves in a really tough hole because now it looks like, to get to the finals of the Big East tournament, you'd have to beat UConn and then beat Marquette. That's a tall task.
But it's certainly doable, and that you got to play them all, whether it's first round, second round, third round. You're going to have to do it, and we got the group that's capable of doing that. And obviously, right now, focus is nothing more than taking a day off, getting our minds right, and playing our best basketball against Georgetown on Wednesday night.
Well, we only got one home game left, but I was going to say maybe we ought to put a blindfold on Arthur and just tell him he's in a different arena because he goes on the road and he had a really good game today.
Yeah, he did. He made some plays that kept us in it, kept us close, and certainly a credit to him for bouncing back because he did have a rough run against Marquette.
I'm a karma guy, Coach, as you know. Karma guy.
Yes, for sure.
You got to go back to Baylor and say, look, who are you? You're the headband guy. You got to put the headband on. I know he had a little rough patch there, so he took it out. You got to go with it. It's not the headband. You got to keep the headband. That's his identity. Got to be who you are. You still there, Coach? Yeah, I think you lost him.
Oh, he's back.
No, he's there.
Back.
Oh, he's there. Okay. Any other thoughts on the game today?
I think I said it. I mean, we got a really, really great effort from them. Obviously, they're playing very well. They went into Xavier and beat Xavier and then turned around and played a great game today. So Last thoughts are move on. We'll get home at a decent time today. Guys will have the rest of the day off and tomorrow, and come back on Monday refreshed and ready to get on a roll here heading into Big East tournament.
Yeah, final home game senior night. It's always an emotional big night.
Yes, it is, and this is a mature group. They'll learn from it and bounce back, and we'll have a great effort on Wednesday night.
All right, Coach. We'll see you then. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Assistant Coach Steve Murfeld joining us from the tunnels of Wells Fargo that I know very well, being been there a couple of times. It just seems that arena seems like when you walk around it, it seems like you're walking for hours to just get around one full circle. So huge. Well, Jerry, so before you came on, I said I was going to take it easy on Murph, so I think I did.
Yep.
But let me get back to what I was saying before you came on, so you can kind of. Mm-hmm. So I'm sorry if I'm going to repeat myself here, but so about 2 weeks ago, I got to think people were saying, "Oh, we're going to beat Marquette by double digits," and I'm thinking it's more likely we lose than we beat Marquette by double digits. And I started thinking, what happens 2 weeks ago? I'm thinking, what happens if we lose? I'm thinking, gosh, then we have the toughest game left on the road. Villanova playing better. This could be bad. How's this all going to play out? And then I started thinking, well, then that's going to drop us in the 4-5 line. We could go out first round, Big East tournament. Boom, get shoved to a 7-8 seed in the in the NCAA tournament. Boom, 1 and out. This is going to be the most disappointing Creighton season of all time. Well, guess what? Two of those scenarios have played out here. What do you think of that?
I got to agree with you. That's correct. It was tough to bounce back. I was at the game Wednesday. I mean, everything was there. We were at home. We had an 8-point lead at half. And I just sat in my seat for 15 minutes after the game, like, man, what a disappointment. It's what you want to have. You want to have a game like that to maybe decide the conference at your home court, and you have a good first half and you just kind of throw it away in the second half. Very disappointing, because everything you've talked about the year built up for that game. You lose that game in a very disappointing fashion. Then you've got to pick yourself up and go to Nova and be ready for a team that's playing well right now. That's hard to come back. I mean, it's just hard to bounce back. And obviously, I don't think we were their intensity. I don't mind that, we left Dixon out there to shoot threes. He shot it like Steph Curry today. Tip your hat to him. I mean, that's always worries me when you're playing Nova and they've got a 5 guy that can shoot a 3. And if you take Hawk and put him on the 3-point line, then Justin Moore is just going to back R2 down and shoot 3-footers. So you've got to pick your poison there. So, but yeah, very disappointing right now. I mean, yeah, I was looking forward to going to Big East tournament. Now it looks like we got to have to, face UConn. I don't see any scenario where Xavier or Providence lose 2 of their last 3 games. I just don't see it happen. Now they play each other, I think, midweek this week, but
right. So somebody's going to lose there.
Somebody's going to lose there, but I don't see Providence or Xavier losing the game. They're playing. I know they're not playing somebody very Butler, St. John's, or somebody at the bottom of the conference.
I think, and I'll check it here, but I think Providence Xavier has Seton Hall out.
Yeah, but did you watch Seton Hall play last night?
Right, but again, that was without Richmond. I mean, they're different
back, but that team just looked bad, and I mean
they have no size. I mean, he's a big guard. They have no size without him at all.
Yeah, they really looked bad last night.
That's part of the problem. I think so. Let's just while we're on the subject, let's just get this over with and look at it real quick. Yeah. So they go to Providence on Wednesday. Look, I'm sorry, nobody's winning there. So you're gonna have to chalk up a loss on the Xavier column, and then they play Butler at home.
Xavier does or Providence? Xavier does.
This is Xavier's schedule.
Yeah.
So they would play Butler at home.
Right.
That's a rivalry game. Okay. Butler's playing better. But again, I haven't seen United Xavier.
I don't see it. I don't
see that happening.
Butler winning at Xavier.
So if you flip the schedule here, tomorrow Providence goes to Georgetown. Now I don't see them losing that game. Georgetown's played everybody tough. I'll say that.
Georgetown will always lose. There'll always be 6 minutes of basketball they play. They look
Then
like
they have 2 home games. Yeah, so that's where it is. They have 2.
We're locked into 4. I mean, there's no.
They have Xavier and Seton Hall at home, Providence. So that's.
Then you say we're staring at UConn, and like you said, you were talking to Coach Murph. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, but winning the Big East tournament was one of the goals this year. And now it looks like we're going to have to beat UConn, turn around and then beat Marquette, then turn around and beat Providence or Xavier. I'm not saying it can't be done.
That's a tough road, man.
That is a tough road to go, man. That is a tough road to go. To win 3 of those games, 3 consecutive, that's why it's nice to have an easier game first off, so you don't have to play your A-level game to win.
The first game, UConn's really playing well right now.
Oh, they are. Man, they are.
And you get them in the Garden, that's going to be, gosh, I just don't see it. I don't see it happening.
And like you said, you go, nobody cares about these last. I know they try to pump. Nobody cares about these last. I mean, beating Georgetown and DePaul right now, nobody cares about that. It doesn't really mean anything. It's probably not going to move us up to the 3 line, in the conference tournament. And if we go and lose out, and lose to UConn, and we turn around and lose a 7-8, 8-9 game in the tournament, the fans are going to look at this as being a very disappointing year.
Not very. It will be the most disappointing Creighton basketball season of all time. I can't imagine one that would be more disappointing if that scenario plays out.
Right. And it could. I mean, it could. I'm not saying it will, but it could, And
I just don't. I mean, Villanova played very well today. Dixon hit a lot of shots. I thought about, maybe we switch Kaluma over on Dixon, but then Kaluma got, even though he had a pretty good game for us, he got chewed out a couple times by Mac for his defense. I mean, he let guys just go right.
One time
Whitmore go right by him a couple times.
Yeah, and I know he went up. He thought he blocked the shot, but when you try to block a shot from behind the guy, the ref can call a foul. I mean, it looks like a foul.
And then once again, Kalk looks slow getting over to guys again.
Yeah. And Mac even mentioned that in his post-game show that he thought Ryan got caught in between, I think the game plan was to set Ryan back and let Dixon shoot for 3, but then if the guy knocks down 3, 4, then Cox's like, okay, I got to go try to get a hand in his face. And then sometimes you've got to commit one way or the other. You're either going to help down underneath the basket and help out on Moore and Whitmore and try to block their shots or alternate shots inside, or you got to go chase Dixon. And it was tough. I mean, I didn't think Eric Dixon was able to shoot 6 of 8 from 3. And one of those he missed, he got the ball back and ended up hitting the second shot. So,
that was a big part. Yeah, that one in the corner,
right.
I was like, oh, that's not his shot right there. And he missed it, and then we didn't get the rebound.
Kalk was out of position. He's jumping at Dixon, trying to alternate the shot. He wasn't in position. The ball bounces off the rim hard. I think somebody else got it, kicked it right back to Dixon for an open 3, and it was just that was the game. You got to pick your poison. I mean, do you really want Kalkbrenner out in the 3-point line and let Moore and Whitmore back guys down low and shoot 3-footers all day? I don't. I mean, I'd rather roll the dice than Dixon hitting 3s, and he did today, But again, I didn't think our defense intensity on the defensive end was very good. I thought we let him get to the hole too easy at times. You got to be, Nova's pretty good right now, and you're going to have to give your A effort, and we didn't have it today. So
and I think too, you talked about Nembhard on Moore, and I don't really mind that because Nembhard's so much quicker than him. As long as you have a little bit of help coming over. There was that time where Moore backed on Farabello, and there wasn't a guy within 15 feet of him. I mean, you got to have somebody over there helping out. And we were just kind of standing around. We just, they were flying around on defense. That's effort to me. So to me, Marquette, you just can't let one game beat you twice, and we did.
There was a letdown, man. After that Wednesday night, I mean, that was letdown. That was disappointing. I mean, sitting there after the game, and I couldn't imagine what the players felt like. You're on a roll. You play your whole season for there. You climb and you get back in. You give yourself a chance, and then to lose it by 2 points at home had to be. I mean, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
But
you got to know what you're playing for, though. There's a lot to play for.
Oh yeah. Of course, the players are going to look. Yeah, we lost our chance at first place, but I mean, now we're
Who
staring
gives
at
a damn?
UConn in a 4 or 5 game, and that's a lot harder than playing Seton Hall, or somebody like you just gave yourself a road to win the Big East tournament. You just made it a lot tougher.
Yeah, I don't think there's any path for anybody to get to 5 now.
No, there's just no way.
Yeah.
It's UConn,
So,
Creighton. And, I'm going to the game Wednesday night, but, I mean, it's, I
yeah.
mean, senior night, we really don't have any seniors per se. I know Baylor, but he's been here one year. And, I'm the biggest Creighton fan as anybody, but am I pumped up about Wednesday night's game against Georgetown? No. I mean, I'm like, oh, God,
Yeah, because Reef is actually a junior still, right?
Yep.
Yeah. With
Yeah,
COVID, I can lose track with COVID. Everybody gets a COVID year. Reef probably got a medical red shirt year last year,
Yep.
And then
Yeah,
with the
it's-
transfer portal, who knows what happens? I mean, if Baylor could come back if he wanted to, I mean, in reality, am I correct there?
Yeah.
I think you are, but I think I heard there's no chance of that happening.
Yeah, so it's Baylor and Farabello. Those would be the two seniors. That's it.
And again, I don't want to rag on Farabella. He was brought in here to be a shooter. And I mean, he missed some wide open. Hell, Nova wouldn't even guard him in the second half. They were daring him to shoot. And if you're a designated 3-point shooter, you got to hit those open looks, man. Those are wide open looks he had.
Yeah, here's what puzzles me too. So he got sick, he was out, and then he's come back the last 2 games. The last 2 games, he's looked pretty good. He's knocked down shots in both games. His defensive intensity has been there. And today his defense was okay, but man, he looked like his shot was back to where it was.
No, it was
It's 2
clanking.
line drive, and it looks like he's rushing it. Same way with Baylor. Baylor's rushing his shot. And that's why I said look, I'm a big camera guy. I know that. I know this all sounds stupid, but his identity was his headband, right?
Yeah.
Leave the damn headband on. What are you doing? I think that gives him a little swagger. He doesn't seem like he has swagger out there right now. And as good as Kaluma played, my God, the time in the second half just drove me nuts. I think it was a 10 or 12-point game. Kaluma doing a great job on the offensive boards, gets the rebound. He's 6 feet from the basket. 6 feet. And he dishes it out to Farabello, who can't hit anything right now. I mean, you've got to take that shot. And the other time he got fouled, yes, he made the free throws. Can he not dunk the basketball anymore? He took 2 steps. Can he not? He's 6'7". He can't dunk it?
There's another one where he even just missed the layup.
Yeah, I don't get that. Dunk the damn ball. I don't understand that. You're not going to miss a dunk. I mean, he has when he comes flying in from top of the key, but, that's different. I just, you know what? Easy, unsung hero day. I know it was in garbage time, but Fred came in there.
Yeah.
I think the one positive today is we easily have a better second team than them. We smoked their second team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was almost
we were
a
down
10-point
17
game.
and we got it to 10 at one
Yeah.
point. I was like, "What? We could win this yet."
I was looking at that, and I was like, that is not representative of how this game went at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why it was so important for Nova to get Moore back. I mean, the guy they had planned starting versus Justin Moore. I mean, it's Moore's an NBA player, and the guy they had, the starting in couldn't start on probably some Missouri Valley teams. So
somebody asked me about this last week. I saw somebody say, "Well, Creighton's going to lose 4 guys." I'm like, "Oh, hold on."
Oh God.
And if you notice when they have these broadcasts, they will, I wouldn't say regularly, but quite often bring up the fact that scouts are there to watch Arthur Kaluma.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever hear them say scouts are there to watch Kalkbrenner or scouts are there to watch Trey Alexander.
Mm-mm.
I think Trey is the better NBA prospect right now.
I think so too.
But
So that tells me I think those 2 guys are coming back. And if Arthur leaves, look, I know he has some defensive deficiencies, but I just love the energy Mason brings. Okay. Number two, we're going to have a bushel full of guys all around the country dying to come to Creighton to take Baylor's spot. Okay. I'm not going to mention a name now, but there's one prominent name that everybody will know that I think has a really good shot at coming here. We also have another name.
I want to talk after the
of
show
somewhat,
about this.
Of somewhat local ties who could very well be a possibility coming. Now, we already got a guy at that position, so that's a little bit of a logjam. But will Reef come back? You know, I know we're talking post-mortem here and we haven't even got to the Big East tournament yet, but it kind of feels like post-mortem day to me. You know, Reef comes back and can Ben make an advance, you know, in his game where he could fill in that backup point guard role as well. And then we really only need like one fill-in wing and we're pretty much set if that's the way the roster rolls out, you know. You know, we don't have, you know, last year we had to get a backup center. We had to get a Farabello type. We had to get a Baylor type. We had to get a lot of pieces in place. We don't necessarily, you know, there's not much we need to fill in next year if what we just described comes back.
And I also want to say to people just in the comments, this is something that legitimately cannot be commented on farther. It just can't.
I'm not gonna bring it. I'm not gonna.
Yeah. So that's all you're gonna get.
Figure it out.
Tim on
Figure
that.
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to draw the dots. Okay. But seriously, in Baylor's, I'll bet you there's at least 15 guys.
Oh,
if you just tape all the games today and go through and find sophomores and juniors who maybe aren't starting, but you could find 15 guys easy that would want to come here and take over Baylor. And look, we're not even talking about mid-majors, right? I mean, so I will say this, it's not Hunter Salas, if that's who you're trying to guess. No. Not him. Not even on my radar.
I know one question I have. I don't know if people understand how hard it is to make an NBA roster. I mean, it's not like
oh my god.
I mean, it is so difficult.
Toughest of any sport.
Yeah.
Toughest of any. Like, okay. Let me back up. I'm not very familiar with hockey, but I think hockey you still kind of have to go. A lot of those guys still have to go through the minor leagues because there's so many foreign players that come in. Yada yada yada.
Yes.
Baseball, obviously, nobody gets drafted and goes right to the majors. They all go through that. That's a different ballgame.
Literally.
But NBA versus like NFL, you can be a 6th-round draft pick and freaking start in the NFL.
You got 53-man squads, then
you're a 2nd-round draft pick.
Guys get hurt every week. Yeah, I mean,
you're thinking you're lucky stars you even get a sniff of getting on the team because there's only the rosters are 12 guys, 15 guys,
15, and then you have G League, which is a steep drop off in terms of
40
everything.
Grand a year salary.
Yeah.
Problem there is you go to G League, you're competing against guys who have been the Marcus Foster types who have been in the G League for 3, 4, 5, 6 years and are veteran. Like, and the NBA is probably going to be more apt to call them up for a 10-day stint because of their experience than they are you.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Now that's not to say that guys can't make a damn good living, especially going overseas. Now that COVID's kind of waned off, now guys are going back overseas. John Turk of Nebraska, he was nothing special. He went over to like Sweden somewhere and made $200,000 a year for many years. Lived a great life in a great country. I mean, fantastic, you know?
Yep. Had a family friend who went to Colorado State. I think he got drafted like 59th in the NBA draft, but went overseas and made plenty of money. So
yeah.
I don't know. When I watch Creighton, and this is no slat, I don't see one guy on the team that's a surefire NBA player. I mean, at the next year. I mean, and do you want to go to G League and make $45,000 a year when you're probably making more of that in NIL money at Creighton? You're not flying private jets in G League. I'll tell you that. You're getting on a boat.
That's a great point, Jerry. I mean, with this NIL thing, supposedly they're making pretty good dough here at Creighton. Yeah. I mean, why would you want to give that up? Other than the fact you got to go to school, which sucks.
Oh.
But
probably going to an 8-hour job a day. You see how that, I mean, what these kids have to realize too is one day nobody's going to play you to play basketball. That's probably going to, even if you're a really good 33, 34, what are you going to do for the next 30 years to support yourself? That's the question. Yeah, why not get the degree? Enjoy your time at college is going to be a lot better. And I always tell people, Doug McDermott was the best player Creighton ever had. Phenomenal shooter. He can't even start right now for one of the worst teams in the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs. And so,
but
he's making good money.
Making really
he is on a 3-year, $30 million contract right now.
Yeah.
Again, but he's not starting for. Okay, he's making good money. But who at Creighton right now would you compare to has the skills of Doug McDermott? I don't know.
Well, no, nobody.
Oh, nobody.
Right.
Yeah, nobody.
Hey, stop. We're going to stop right here. We're going to thank our sponsors, Equitable Bank, We Take Banking Personally, West Pacific Dental Group, Infusion Brewery. Come on, Jerry. Look at Zach's hair.
I see that. Good job. You got a haircut.
I did. First one in a few years.
Yeah, but he is making $10 million a year. I've always said the greatest position. It's not even close. If you want to be one thing in sports, and let's say you're not a superstar, you're not even an all-star, maybe not even a starter. The greatest position in all of sports to be is a left-handed reliever in baseball.
Oh yeah.
You make $5 million a year. You work 3 days a week, and you pitch to 2 batters a game.
Yep.
Well, you have to pitch to 3 now, but anyway, still, that's it. That's it.
Or a backup.
You take your golf clubs. You take your golf clubs with. You just play golf every morning. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Even a backup quarterback in the NFL. Look how much money Chase Daniels has played. And I think has made. He's probably only played 10 NFL games this whole. Wear a hat and hold a clipboard. So
I would say the difference there is, as a backup quarterback, you have to be ready to go in.
Right, that's true.
Because then you never know what's going to happen. Right. So you have to go through all the game playing, all this stuff. Left-hander has to go out there and make sure he's throwing that curveball on the outside part of the plate to left-handed hitters. That's all he's got to worry about.
You think Brock Purdy thought he was going to get a single snap this year?
Probably not.
I'll tell you what. I saw him in preseason and live in Minnesota, and I said, this dude's making the team. He looked really good.
I think he'll be in the conversation for the starting quarterback next year. From what I hear, and again, this is not a San Francisco 49ers. I mean, teammates like him a lot better than they like Trey Lance, from what I'm hearing.
I hope all you people that are listening understand how disappointing and terrible this game was, because we've just covered backup quarterbacks in the NFL, left-handed relief pitchers,
NBA contracts,
looked at next year's roster, and talked about Zach's hair.
Yeah.
So, but forget that. So I got to morph back to my original conversation. So I don't know if you saw this, Jerry, but Iowa was down 89-77 with like 3 minutes to go at Carver Hawkeye Arena.
Yeah.
Dude hits a 3. I don't know who it was. I didn't quite, because we started the show. Ties it up with 2 seconds left with a 3-pointer. Goes 101, goes to overtime. We're talking NBA score here.
Yeah.
Not only, of course, at that point, after Michigan State blows that lead, there's no chance they're going to win, right? Not only that, Iowa comes back and covers the 5.5.
Wow.
They're down 12 with 3 minutes to go, and they come back and cover. Incredible.
Now Michigan State's got you've got a big team. You do the bracket more than I do, Tim. You've got a bunch of teams in the Big Ten that are 7 through 12 seeds, right? I mean, you just load it with.
They're 7 through 10, basically.
7 through 10.
Rutgers kind of slipped to an 11 because they've got a really bad non-conference strength of schedule, and they're fading big time. But yeah, that's what I was on the radio in Syracuse yesterday morning, and they were like, talking about the Big Ten. I said, these teams in the middle, they just ping pong all around. Like Iowa was a 6 seed, and now I dropped them to a 10, and now they're going to be pushed up to an 8, and Michigan State's going to be dropped back down again. And that middle group, that Illinois, Iowa, Michigan State, Rutgers, Northwestern's kind of separated themselves, but now they could lose today and go in a 2-game losing streak. They'll drop back in that ping pong mix. These teams just bounce around week to week, game to game. You never know who's going to win. It's crazy. That middle of the Big Ten, Maryland's the other one, that's in there. You just don't know who the hell's going to win from game to game. You don't. You know, it's nuts. Yeah, the Big
Where do you
Ten
have North Carolina? Where do you have North Carolina now?
out. They've been out. They've been out of my bracket for like
Is
3
there a
weeks.
worse coaching job I've ever seen than Hubert Davis this year?
I think maybe you weren't on the show, Jared, but I said this last year. I never liked Hubert Davis. I've been pissed at him ever since he was on ESPN and Creighton was in the running for a at-large bid. And he goes, Creighton's not any good. I thought, you arrogant North Carolina jerk, you're feeding into the North Carolina hate at Creighton. And then I just never thought he was a good assistant. I didn't think he was that great of a recruiter as an assistant. He got the head job. They started tanking last year, and I went, yeah, okay. And they go on that run, and everybody's like, oh, God, they're going to be number one. And I told somebody at the time, I go, this might be fool's gold here. Let's just play this out. Well, guess what?
They were
Fool's gold.
I think I saw some stat where no team has been preseason ranked number one and not made the tournament. And he's
no, somebody debunked that. Somebody went back and found a couple teams that happened to.
But he's legitimately got 3 NBA first round picks on that team. You know,
if you watch them, it's not tough. It's not rocket science.
Hero ball, man.
I'm coaching. Okay, put me in there as coach right now today. Okay. They're playing Virginia, very good team. Okay, they got opportunities. They got Virginia and Duke here. They win those 2 games, they can get back in the field. I just walk in the locker room and go, okay, if we have 5 possessions and 4 of them and 1 and 2 of them, sorry, let me start over. We have 5 possessions. And on those 5 possessions, 2 of them, Baycott doesn't touch the ball. You're all coming out of the game.
Right, I agree.
They don't give him the ball at all. My God, that guy's a beast down there.
Yeah. Love and RJ, whatever. I mean, those guys bring the ball past half court. Usually
just jacking up
shots, you know. Then they're fighting over the same girlfriend, I heard, and what a mess.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, the starting point guard on the girls' basketball team, they're both fighting. I can never be good for a basketball.
You know, and I got to tell you this. You want to talk college basketball? Horrible tragedy in Alabama. Feel sorry for everybody who's involved. You know, and Oates had that one horrible press conference.
Yeah.
Should have just said like 2 words, but instead, you know, horrible. But that kid has rights too. And Jay Billis said it very well today. That kid has rights too. Everything the police say, everything everybody says is he's not a suspect. He's just a cooperating person in the investigation. And for a freshman kid to have all that go in his head and then go out and score 41 points.
Now, I watch that guy, and I say NBA guy, man, when I see that dude.
Yeah. There's no question.
Oh, man. And I think Oates just wants us to try, hey, we just got to get by this another month. Well, once we lose, that guy's going to declare for the NBA draft. He's going to be a top 10 NBA pick. And you think Oates is going to go somewhere? I mean, you think Oates will try to, go to Louisville, go to Kentucky,
Well, yeah, that's been kind of the talk. Well, I think for a while the talk was he was going to go to Texas, but this guy's doing so well there. I don't know that you're going to make a change there,
Right, you're not going to bring in a guy. Yeah, that was not good optics by Nate Oates in that press conference.
But I mean, I just think about how a kid can get that kind of focus to, geez, unbelievable.
It's on a basketball court, man. I guess you could say he made bad judgment. You don't want to hang.
Right. Oh, certainly he had some judgment issues.
Somebody called.
He's 18 years old.
Don't bring me a gun. You probably said, "Well, wait, maybe we don't go that route, dude." So, but
yeah, and you don't even, and that's even been disputed how that whole thing came down. So I don't even know. I haven't read enough about it.
But it affected them. They did not. South Carolina is not a good basketball team. And
it certainly affected them that first game. But then
I told somebody they're going to have to embrace the role of villain, because when he was going to the free throw line, the crowd was chanting, lock him up. And so it's going to be hard for an 18-year-old kid to put that out in your mind, because the visiting fans are going to be malicious to him right now. So
but that game was on the road, wasn't it?
It was in South Carolina. Yeah, the South Carolina student section, every time he touched the ball or shot free throws, was chanting, lock him up. And for an 18-year-old kid, that's got to be tough, so.
Hey, let's backtrack a second, since this game today was so, noteworthy in commentary. We're having so much commentary on the game. Let's go back to the Marquette game. Just to follow up for people maybe that hadn't heard, Marcus Blossom did put out a statement about the students, need to knock it off and behave. Coach Mack obviously did too. I think there's a rumor going around that Creighton did get fined by the Big East, but all that stuff's always swept under the rug and kind of kept quiet. For the fact that they threw things on the floor, they threw things at the ref, and so on and so forth. So just wanted to bring that up in case people hadn't heard.
Yeah, you don't throw things at other players. That's just, bad. And again,
Yeah.
it's probably, 10 people, and you get a game like that too. And you get fans that, I guess, so-called fans that, it's not a football game. You're not you don't throw things at college basketball players.
Yeah. And look, there's kind of a fine line, right? Like we've had the most wine and cheese crowds forever, right? Now this year, the students have really gotten into it, so we loving that, right? And now they're going a little bit overboard. Although you could stop all that stuff real quickly by putting a net on the side of the student section so they couldn't throw things that way. That would end that right now. Yeah, you should. What did their players have anything to do with it?
Yeah, their players didn't make any of those calls.
Yeah, throw stuff at the refs. Go ahead. No, I didn't say that. They got pelted pretty good, but
it always brings me back to the time, if you remember, back in the 80s when Missouri played Oklahoma and they were down there and Oklahoma wasn't getting any call.
Yep.
They were throwing things on the floor and they had Billy Tubbs go over and he said,
yeah.
Please, no matter how bad the officiating is, do not throw things on the floor. Of course, Billy got beat up, but the crowd went crazy and Mizzou had a top 5 team. Then Oklahoma came back and beat him in overtime. But that was a classic Billy Tubbs. Even being a Missouri fan, I loved it. I mean, it was a perfect thing to say.
Jared, it's funny you mentioned that when Jake Ryan began that announcement. He's kind of been urging the crowd throughout the year. I thought, oh God, here comes Jake.
Yeah, please, no matter how bad the officiating.
How can they give him a T, right? He's just a PA guy. Right?
No matter how bad officiating is, do not throw things on the court. Yeah. So.
Although that's the old Steve Pivovar story when he was covering the Royals, the Omaha Royals. The ump threw the organist out of the game one time.
Playing 3 blind mice, right?
Yeah. God.
No, you don't.
I'm glad we're able to laugh today, guys.
What's that?
I'm glad we're able to laugh today.
Oh yeah, that was very disappointing.
If you don't laugh,
worst call of the game. I got worst call of the game. Call might have got him on the arm, but it wasn't enough to call a foul.
No, it wasn't. I agree with that.
That was a crappy call.
But
And you know what? That block he got, Dixon went right into him. What's he supposed to do?
Right. The reason I didn't like the call foul, the guy that was standing 4 foot from the plate didn't call it. It was the guy back at midcourt.
Yes.
Yeah. And if I said to a ref one time, and if you're going to call stuff from midcourt when your partner is down underneath the bucket 3 foot from the play, then why don't you let your partner go drink beer at the bar and you can just call the game from midcourt on both sides, So,
yeah. I will say this. Sometimes the guy underneath is blocked. Can't see. Like, for instance, let's go back to Marquette game. Jeff Anderson. He's calling that play out at half court, right? But from he didn't have a good angle of the play. He was totally blocked out. Right. The two guys had their backs to him. He couldn't see what was happening. The ref in front saw that there was no contact.
He saw Prosper hit the deck and assumed that he got pushed or bumped by Crawford, and so he's blowing the whistle.
Think how different today would have been if we'd have won that game. I mean,
even if we don't win the Big Ten, even if we don't win the Big East title, even if we go and lose today, at least we're in the 2-3 spot. So,
right.
It's just, man, that road at the 4,
Not only that, I think we win. I think we'd have won all the tiebreakers too.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly too. So, it's just, man, that 4 spot against UConn. That said, didn't having to go play Marquette, didn't having to go play probably Xavier or Providence. I mean, that is a brutal road. I mean, I don't know.
Although, I'll start spinning this in a week or so, I'm sure. I do kind of like our coaching matchup there, Mac against Hurley.
Yeah.
Mac's gonna come up with a game plan for us, and they're more traditional. Yeah, Sanogo can hit that 3-2, but he's not going to shoot them like Dixon does.
No, and he even went crazy in Omaha. That's the reason that game was close. I don't think did he hit 3 or 4?
Who?
Sanogo.
Oh yeah, he hit 3.
Yeah, right. I don't think that's something he's going to do very often. I don't think he replicates that.
Again, you ask Creighton fan, do you want Kalkbrenner to go out and guard Sanogo at the 3-point line and leave the middle? I mean, if they're five guys hitting threes, I mean, how many do you? I don't know. It's kind of like you got to pick your poison there.
You just got the only thing that scares me, UConn, you got to get around that screen on Hawkins, man. You got it. You can't go underneath him ever.
Right.
You got to get around him. And then the other thing is you gotta keep Caravan in check. You got to make sure don't leave him wide open. You don't want to get him going because he can start filling it up. But Arthur's generally on him. Arthur's got to box him out from the rebounds too. And then you've got to make on the other side when they go clinging in there, you got to make sure you make him run the floor because you can outrun him down the floor. So I like how we're previewing the first round of the Big East and we got a whole week to go.
Okay. Here's a question. How bad would the Creighton have to play Wednesday night to lose to Georgetown? I know they've got some talent, but that would have to be the all-time worst, I think. I mean, it's obviously
to lose to Georgetown?
Yeah, at home.
I would right now. I have no idea. The points would be like 13. I'm taking Georgetown. We're going to be flat. We're going to be terribly flat.
Oh, I would be. I'm flat as a fan.
We're going to win the game, but we won't win by a lot.
I mean, yeah, it's just the team now is to just feel down. Now, I mean,
the game I always worried about, and the other game too is when we go into that Saturday game in DePaul, we might not have anything to play for.
We're not going to have anything to play for. How many crazy?
Well, I mean, I guess there's always with the NCAA
seed, but really,
yeah, you don't want to. Like if you're sitting there, probably if we beat Georgetown, we'll certainly be a solid 6 seed. So then you lose to you'd rather be a 6 than a 7, I think, especially when you look at the teams that are in the 2 slot. Those are all powerhouse teams.
Right.
You could potentially have a rematch with Arizona. You got UCLA, you got Baylor, you got Texas. You may have Kansas State. Those are all powerhouse teams. You get down to the 6-3 line. Now you're talking Gonzaga. You're talking
Virginia. Maybe?
Virginia, yeah.
Tennessee,
Iowa State, Tennessee. Tennessee might not even make it out of the first round.
Yeah.
So,
and usually you're playing a 1 and 2 seed, Pete, at a place close to where they're from, so they're going to be a major home.
Right. The only advantage to us to get to a 7.
You might go to Des Moines and
because Kansas State, Baylor, they're all going to fill up Des Moines right away. So that would be the only advantage.
Mm-hmm.
The other advantage would be 10 seeds are not great. That's like playing Seton Hall, So you're pretty assured of getting out of that first game. And would we like to take a run at, say, I don't know, Texas again? Yeah. I think we probably would.
I wouldn't mind playing Virginia. I mean, they got beat by Boston College.
Yeah, but I'm saying if we're a 7, we would play at 2.
Yeah.
I don't know that we'd want to play. I wouldn't mind playing UCLA. They always play everybody close.
I don't want to play Arizona again.
No, I think we played about as well as we could play. Yeah, and here's a team that Iowa State. They score 50 points at home today.
Yeah.
And get beat by Oklahoma.
Wow. And they were up big at first. I just took a look. They were up 14-3 right off the bat in that game.
So our mock selection committee, which, by the way, I want to promote that as much as possible. So if you're interested on where Creighton's going to land and so forth, we were pretty darn accurate last year. So we kick it all off. We're produced by a guy named Zach Weaver. The whole show is. And we're kicking it off on Thursday night, 6:00 on YouTube channel. What it's just called Mock Selection Committee, Zach? Is that
Mock Selection Committee, yep.
Yep. So just go to that channel on YouTube. You can see it all. And if you missed some of it and you want to go back, it's all going to be recorded there. You can go back at any time and look at it. But at any rate, we were talking about that, how the tournaments, how the selection and everything's going to go. And it's just really strange this year that the teams, when you saw that reveal, you kind of puzzled, scratch your head at some of the things. And a couple of us that have done this a long time go, yeah, sometimes it does matter who's on the committee. Now, I don't know if you guys heard the comments of Mick Cronin. Anybody hear this?
I did not.
Okay. So after last Saturday, when they had the reveal, he was all upset because they were seeded 8th overall. I don't know if Mick thought they should have been number 1. I don't know, but whatever. They were a 2 seed. Mick just gets in front and goes, "Look, this is the only thing I'm going to say. From now on, you got to go to my administration. I'm not saying anything about it. It's an absolute joke. It just makes me laugh." But he goes, "I know the reason why. Us leaving this league is costing people a lot of money, and they're going to take it out on us." And just goes, "Just go connect the dots." Okay. I'm thinking, what the hell is he talking about? And then it dawned on me like, oh, wow, every year before I get to about this point in the bracket, do my bracketology, I tend to take a look at who's on the committee. Because when you, let's say, for instance, Jamie Pollard from Iowa State's on the committee. So when Iowa State is discussed, he has to leave the room. He can't even be in the room when they're doing the discussion. When it comes time to vote, and there's a ballot of 8 teams and Iowa State's on the ballot, when he gets his ballot, Iowa State won't be there. He can't vote for them. So you say, well, Tim, they're not in the room. They can't vote. Okay, but when they're sitting around the ice cream machine, Jamie puts his arm around this guy and goes, "Hey, look, we're really, really good. I'm telling you, we're better than Kansas State." Hey, that stuff kind of like morphs together, right? So I go and look at the committee. Who do you think's on the committee? The AD of Arizona. So that's who Cronin was talking about. The fact that they're leaving the Pac-12, and he thinks that guy is screwing him. So I said, oh, okay. Well, Arizona's good. I thought they were seated correctly. I would even put them higher. So, okay, that's fine. But I go, well, let me see who else is on there. Oh, no wonder there are 3 seeds. Jamie Pollard, AD of Iowa State, and the AD at Kansas State. Both 3 seeds magically when they probably should have been 4s. Let's look who else is on there. Oh, the athletic from Bradley is committee chair. Guess who he was point guard of? Indiana. Oh, no wonder Indiana's a 4 seed, not a 5 seed. I'm telling you, I'm not trying to be a big conspiracy guy, but sometimes. So anyway, stuff like that happens, so you're always like, kind of got to, take that with a little grain of salt. Like, I remember last year we were doing it, and we really didn't think Notre Dame deserved to be in the tournament. And Dave Ullman, who's been one of the best bracketologists in the country for years and years, goes, "Look, I agree with you, but guess what? They're not leaving out the number 2 ACC team. They just aren't going to do it. I know conference is supposed to have no effect on it, but they ain't leaving out the number 2 seed, number 2 ACC team." And you know what? He was right.
Well, we don't have to worry about Notre Dame getting in this year, I don't think.
No, I think they're going to miss it just by a little.
Oh, God, they're bad. Wow.
That's a big rumor job, too. I don't know what Porter's buyout is, but there's a big rumor with Porter because Porter's got connections,
Mm-hmm. Well, there's that rumor floating around about Holtzman leaving Ohio State and going to Notre Dame. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would he do that?
Speaking of rumors, well, I mean, Ohio State, a lot of pressure. One bad year to Ohio State, never want to get rid of you, He's been pretty solid.
Yeah, but Ohio State, man, you just want – and you want to be a coach of anything there. Really. They got everything.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
Another rumor, since we're throwing them out, I'm hearing Rick Pitino to St. John's.
I heard that too. I can't believe that. The other rumor we're hearing is that St. John's, Villanova, and somebody are going to join the Big 12 as basketball only with Gonzaga. I don't ever see that.
Was it UConn?
Why would you take St. John's?
Right.
I heard something about UConn.
UConn going to the ACC.
ACC? Okay.
I could not open the door fast enough for them to go to the ACC.
The buyout has to be insane.
I don't care. Get rid of them. They don't belong to me. Get them out of here. They want to go to the ACC. Knock yourself out. But I also heard a rumor that then Bray is going. Bray wants to keep coaching. And I heard he was going somewhere. Now I can't remember where it was. There's a rumor going around, but enough of that. Anyway, so we got worst call of the way. Unsung hero, Fred.
Yeah.
I
was just disappointed Ben didn't get a shot. Ben should have jacked one up there.
He had a really good pass Backdoor to was
Yeah.
that Mason?
Yeah. And again today, Baylor Schreierman strikes again. Two
Yeah,
passes that
he
weren't
had a
within
really
10
bad
feet of
cross-court
any player.
pass. Yeah.
I just, what is he looking at? And, we're struggling on offense. And I think was it Trey or Nemhard came in, tried to do that no look in traffic. I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, really? You got to take care of the basketball. That's to me, that's on coaching a little bit like right now. Like we need to really be stressing that. And I know Mac doesn't like to hamstrung. I know that's why he had his arm around Farabello on the bench after going 0 for 28. Like, hey, hang in there. You're getting, we need you. But man,
Yep.
Did anybody else get frustrated with like Kluma not either dunking it or shooting a 6-foot shot?
I watch him. He tries. So here's my view. It's like when he drives expecting contact and not creating that contact for himself. So he's like, oh, I'm going to get fouled. And then he misses these layups he shouldn't be missing. Just go up, man. You're 6'7", you have long arms, extremely long arms. Just go up.
He doesn't have to, would you, am I wrong? I don't think he has to jump that high to dunk it.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah.
And jump that high to two-hand flush it. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, he tried to do that one-hand flush today. Of course, that looks better on ESPN. But yeah, a lot of times you can hit the back of you lose control of it as you're going down, and you hit the back of the inside back of the rim. It goes shooting out. So a lot more, a lot better, more consistent doing a two-hand slam versus trying to tomahawk one in with one-handed. I know it looks cool, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do like that we have gotten our bench to a point where we can somewhat trust it a little more now.
Sharif's playing better. I mean,
Sharif can,
really well.
I'm comfortable with Sharif out there 8 to 10 minutes now. Like he looks okay. The other thing I wanted to bring up today that this is, to me, this is on prep and coaching. Drives me nuts. Our press break is awful. Just absolutely awful. We struggle getting it across half courts.
It didn't. By the time we get our offense set, there's 12 seconds left on the shot clock.
We should have that thing across half court in 5 seconds. That press they're putting on today, I was drilled this into my head by my high school coach. I still remember this. Middle, side, safety. That's simple. Get the ball in the middle. No, that guy's covered. Side. Oh, no. They're covered. Safety. Boom.
It wasn't even
that's got to happen like that, not 10 seconds. It's got to go.
I don't think Villanova threw it up there to try to steal the ball. They were just trying to take forever to get.
No, but we still were having trouble getting it across. They weren't even trying to steal it.
Yeah, and then by the time we did get it across and get our offense set, there's like 12 seconds left on the shot clock. So
and you've got to make them pay.
Exactly.
That's where that cross court was open the whole time. Cross court to Trey or Kluma, who's ever there, go. And guess what's going to happen then? Lob her up to Kalk, and it's all over. You do that 3 times in a row, they're going to back that press right off.
Yeah.
Another thing that I looked back on, Tim, you remember we went to that practice on media day and Kalkbrenner drove and just went off 1 foot and threw it down? I'd like to see him try that.
Went off 1 foot. You talking about Kalkbrenner?
Yeah, when he dunked on Jason Green.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I see him go down and.
Did anybody watch the pregame?
I didn't.
So they had a clip of Kalkbrenner in high school, and I mean, my God, the moves he put on. Or, of course, he's playing against smaller guys. I get it, but still, like, yeah. He just looked slower out there today, too. Like, he looked like he regressed back to right when he's coming back to COVID. Farabello looked like he was like a month ago. Baylor's looked like he's been the last 2 weeks. Maybe Baylor, we talk about freshmen. Maybe Baylor's hitting kind of a wall. Maybe at South Dakota State they're beating, Western Illinois by 25, and he's not having to play 36 minutes. I don't know.
Or UNO or something.
I don't know. Just throwing a theory out there.
It's a lot more physical game than Big East. You didn't see this kind of contact and physicality. They're playing at South Dakota State. That's for sure. So
yeah. So I hate to bring this up, but you know me, I will anyway. Okay, so that whole cluster affair starts at 7:30 Wednesday night. A game that nobody wants to go to starts at 7:30. I'd love to say be loud, be proud, but, just at least show up. Because we do have to honor this. Most likely Baylor's not coming back. Do we have any walk-ons that are seniors? I don't even know.
No.
No.
Not as far as I know.
That is kind of, seriously, getting on to another point here. That is kind of seriously something we all need to take a step back, because we kind of did that earlier in the year. We're still really young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We really are really young.
Extremely.
Yep. And we could be relatively young next year, even if most of the guys come back, So, that, I guess that's one thing, but these guys have been through the wars now. You would think they would. Murph, and we all started panicking back late December too, so things turned around. So I don't know, I hate to say this, but this kind of feels like the Marcus Foster team that we went and played K-State in the NCAA tourney and just laid an egg. That's how this whole thing feels to me.
Our point guard tore his ACL that season, though. Wasn't
That's
it?
The difference.
Or was that? No, that was the.
Well,
Rhode
no,
Island
that was the year before. We lost
year.
to Rhode Island that year.
Yep,
that year. We didn't even have an option to have a point guard at the.
Yeah.
We were trying to play Ronnie Harrell at point that game.
Yeah.
He never played it all year. But no, that was that game. Then we could have played UMBC.
Yep.
We had Sweet 16.
That was the 16 over the 1. Yep.
But I don't know. I'm just saying, it just kind of feels like we reached that peak, and now it's starting to. Can we bring it back up? If we win these 2 games, and maybe you know what? Now that there's no pressure, maybe they'll go out and play loose and play the 2 best games of the year. Who knows? I don't know.
But then you're gonna say it's Georgetown and DePaul.
Well, sure.
Say,
but
should be.
But we will say that. But the players up here will get some confidence. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm sure the coaches, the only thing they'll be preaching is you can't take these games lightly. Georgetown's talented. They're poorly coached as hell, but they've got some talent, So
that one guard, I'll tell you, that guard, he's as good as anybody in the league when he gets going, man.
He's tough.
When he gets going, he just does not miss.
That's why you shake your head like, how are they so bad? But
Yeah.
Who does Georgetown hire? I mean, okay, I guess Jackson had to go to lunch, but that's another. What does Georgetown do for a coach next year? So I don't know.
Who you bring down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's where it was. That's where the rumor about Bray. That was totally a rumor. Because Bray was at DeMatha, so he coached under Wooten, so they think DC area, he's got connections, he could go there, get him turned around, So that would make a lot of sense, frankly. If you're going to get rid of Patrick, you got to bring in a guy that's got a kind of a name.
Right?
You can't bring in Etheridge like they did that one year. Although he did fine after Big John left, but yeah, there'll be plenty of time to talk about those rumors, I guess. Yeah. Jerry, well, what the hell happened yesterday? We just hit the ball out of the ballpark all over the place and still lost.
Pitching, I don't know. I didn't get to watch the game on the computer. I talked to a parent that was down there, said it was the longest baseball game he'd ever sat through. I don't know if that stadium is small. I know they've renovated it, but sometimes these stadiums aren't very big, and these guys hit 290-foot fly balls to be home runs. I don't know. Our pitching really, nobody we brought in there could throw had success. We got beat 14-12. So I don't know. And it wasn't a lot of walks either. I think Coastal had like 20 hits, 20, 21 hits. So it wasn't like we were walking or hitting a bunch of guys, but they, that ballpark could be small. I think Clifford hit a home run even. So, it's definitely not TD Ameritrade Charles Schwab Field. So, yeah.
Grace had a great day.
Yeah.
Jerry, just as a side, so last game I had 2 tickets and gave them away to Nolan Saylor's dad and mom.
Okay.
Yeah, so they said so. We talked a lot of baseball, and yeah, they were going this weekend, and
he hit a home run yesterday too.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
And actually, everybody hit a home run. Yeah, that's why you got it. That's why you got to think. That ballpark had to be. It's just say it's not TD Ameritrade. So yeah.
Let's give you a. Oh, well, there must be a. Hold on a second here. Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Hold on a second. Let's get the flag out. Come on.
The map all white out.
Stays up 3-1, bottom of the 4th.
Baby. Oh, they're up. Okay.
Let's go.
Did Lomo pitch today?
No. He got Ed told us last week on our show that he was making a change. He didn't. He said we're considering it. They're going with the youngster tomorrow out of Iowa, the freshman.
Oh, that Waukee kid?
Yep. They're going with him. So today it was Sidearm Sports is just awful.
The Dom pitch today? Did he?
No, it's Kleinsword's pitch today.
Oh wow, he was
he pitched great last week.
Regis College, that threw 6 shutout innings last week. Yeah.
Yeah, he pitched great last week too. He's given up one run not earned.
No strikes.
He has not given up an earned run yet.
Yep.
So let's see, how are we doing? Are we in? Yeah, we're into the top of the 5th now. 3-1. It's all right.
So he's earned his spot as a weekend starter.
I'd be thrilled if we took 1 out of 2 from these guys.
Yeah, we took 2 out of it. Oh yeah, Coastal's supposed to be pretty good. So
we took just 1. I'll be very happy.
Yeah,
and I'd be interested to see the freshman go tomorrow because he's got stuff.
Mm-hmm.
See how he does in a big time atmosphere.
I wonder if Dom. I mean, I thought Dom was back to 100% now. He started. He was our Saturday starter last year. Maybe he's still struggling. I don't know. So,
all right,
guys.
Zach, you need to go to lunch.
I do.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jerry. Thanks for filling in. We'll be right about an hour after the game Wednesday. They'll probably still be going on with the senior ceremonies because it takes.
Oh, that's right. Well,
but no worries. We'll be on right away, so you can get in your car and drive home and listen to us. So we'll have post game then, and we'll have Blue Jay Banner again Monday. I'm efforting the guy who won it at the golf tournament, Mike Pfeiffer, bid to be a co-host. He hasn't done it all year. I said, Mike, the basketball season's kind of running out here, so we're hoping we can get him on Monday. So he might be a special guest, and if he is, please tune in because he's a hoot. Okay, all right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jerry. Thanks, Zach. Talk to you next week. Have a good weekend.
Yeah.